to talk to you a little bit about the hashtag impeachment hoax. I know it's a little late to talk to you about this, but it's kind of been bothering me. It's a conversation that I have had over and over and over with who I suspect are just ignorant people who don't know much about the Constitution. Now, I was quite ignorant myself as a liberal who basically learned next to nothing about the Constitution going to school in the 90s. Now, I have learned a lot about it ever since the impeachment trial. And let me just say something very briefly. I want to explain to you the difference between the jobs that the House and the Senate has. The difference is the House was supposed to compile all the evidence. They were supposed to do the interviews. They were supposed to get the documents. They were supposed to work for subpoenas. Now let me explain something to you that's very, very sketchy that the House did. They passed a resolution in September that basically made it so that they themselves, the House, could issue subpoenas, which makes it so that they didn't have to go through the Judicial Branch. Now that is very, very wrong, because that is what the Judicial Branch is for. Issuing the subpoenas, basically enforcing the rules. That's what the Judicial Branch is for. And the House thought they could just go around that. So anyway, that's just one thing they did. People are saying that Trump withheld evidence or that he was obstructing Congress, which is one of the impeachment charges that's absolutely insane. As the president, he has executive privilege. That's something that all of our presidents have been given. It protects him and makes it so these things cannot happen and you cannot have a frivolous impeachment. This is something that was not explained to the American people very well. Instead, it was seen as obstruction of Congress or not cooperating with the House. The House knew what they were doing was wrong, and they did it anyway, because what they thought they could do was change the Constitution. So, number one, they could issue subpoenas, and number two, they could try to get interviews, witnesses, extra documents, all of that for when they pushed the impeachment through, and it went to the Senate. Now, here's the problem. The Senate's job is not to compile evidence. They're not supposed to conduct the interviews, at least not new ones. It's not their job. Even though it says trial, it's not a trial as in what you're used to. This is very different than criminal law. This trial was supposed to be based on what was already gathered, who was already talked to, all the interviews that had already been done. That is what the Senate was supposed to make their judgment on. And as I said before, the House did not do their job because they thought they could skip it. And then they thought that they could convince the American people and the Senate themselves that they could go ahead and have additional witnesses and basically have the Senate do the job for them. Now, does that sound right to you? Because it doesn't sound right to me. And Mitt Romney knew better. He knows the Constitution, so he basically voted to throw it out the window. Mittens is not who you think he is. Just wanted to explain that to you because it's very important that you understand it. It's very important that you understand the United States Constitution is extremely well-written document. It knows what it's doing. The reason why it's written the way that it is to make it so that impeachments are not used as a political tool in order to remove the president that the American people have voted for. The American people voted for Donald Trump. He has the right to act as the president. We gave him that right when we voted for him. So please, please, if you don't understand this, read the Constitution. Ask questions. Don't just assume you know things. The wisest people are the ones who admit they know nothing. I want to let you know the GOP did the right thing. The GOP did their job, which don't change things, and that was their job, and they did it. Now, if they want to run the impeachment again, which I kind of feel like they're going to do, maybe they'll actually do a good job this time, and the House will do their job, and the House will do what they're supposed to do, rather than trying to pass it off to the Senate, because it's not the Senate's job to do this. It's their job. And they knew they had a case full of holes, not enough evidence to back it up, and that is something that they thought they could hide from the American people. They couldn't hide it from me, from you either. The GOP did their job. They did the right thing. The Democrats did not. They wanted to change the Constitution. Remember that for the 2020 election. Do you want a party in charge that was basically willing to throw out the Constitution and what it stands for? Or do you want the party that actually stood up for the Constitution and did the right thing? That would be the Republican Party. That would be the GOP. Please remember that when it comes to the primaries. Please remember that when it comes to November. Do the right thing. Thank you.